Thank you for tuning in to the reading. I'm going to be your reader for today, Hugon Negrezo. You can purchase a private psychic reading at www.blackspectrumnetwork.com. For as little as $2 a month, you'll receive these and other videos at least 1 week ahead of their YouTube release date. You can enroll in my online magic academy to learn more about tarot, candle magic, and ancestral worship. Go to blackspectrumnetwork.com. Select the link for my online magic academy. We have free courses available to teach you how to do magic and perform divinations. We're going to go ahead and get into this reading about Charlemagne the God. All right, so I want to know how you all feel about Charlemagne the God. Let me know in the comment section of this video. Are you a fan of The Breakfast Club? Are you not a fan of The Breakfast Club? You know, let me know what you think. I don't really watch The Breakfast Club anymore. I stopped watching it when I was about 26. I think I've watched a couple of interviews from a few people, but I haven't really invested a lot into keeping up with the particular show. So the first card that we get for Charlemagne is the card for the Vampire. The card for the Vampire for Charlemagne the God would speak about him having the energy of a succubus. So I get that he this is talking about his sexual relationships, because they're showing me that he can take energy through sex, that he is someone that enjoys sex. It is a spiritual experience for him. I also get that sex allows him to really connect with someone else. He enjoys the natural feel of how someone feels inside when he's inside of them. He enjoys that experience. I get that he's also someone that looks very deeply into your eyes and tries to mesmerize you with sex. And also with the Vampire card, it would be speaking about him trying to seek out a spiritual life force within people, one that he doesn't have within himself. I feel that there's a dark void. It's not a bad thing, it's just saying that he has he's very receptive to what it is that people can give him through sex. So there's a void, a dark void that needs to be filled, and I would say that this void is really more so his sexual appetite. So with this Vampire card coming out, I get that he, I get that Charlemagne the God was someone whom in his younger years he was having sex for survival. So I get that he used sex as a sort of an escape drug or a way to get away from his personal problems. Also to help define his masculinity as well. The next card that I get is the card for the father. This may be speaking about Charlemagne the God being a father at a very young age. I don't know if he is a dad or not. I don't know, but I feel like he may have had a child when he was in his teens, or at least had a pregnancy scare. The child may not be his, but the father card is talking about him being somebody that creates. He's someone that works very well with teams of women. Actually, that's what I see. He works very well with teams of women, but he has to be the only man in the room. I get that he is egotistical in terms of his masculinity. He can be combative with other men. He works very well with feminine women. I get this energy from Charlemagne the God that he, a woman that is capable, independent, and aggressive. He would see her as competition. I don't know if Charlemagne the God has a son, but I feel strongly that if he does have a son, he has a very strong connection to this son. But if he has a daughter, then this would indicate that he's incredibly affectionate with his daughter, and he talks to her a lot about men and what men to watch out for. So the next card that I'm going to pull is the card for the guide, which is speaking about Charlemagne the God being someone who he understands the divinity within himself. So this means that he has an enlightened sense of consciousness. He is someone that can see through the matrix. He's someone that can read between the lines. He literally can see someone's soul or their spirit. In that way, he can pick up on the strengths and weaknesses of a person, and he's able to easily manipulate them. And it's not always negative manipulation, right? This is a sort of manipulation where he can produce whatever outcome that he wants. He has a way of seeing people, and he sees people in a way that they don't see themselves, and he knows how to ask questions or interact with you to get the side of you that's buried deep within in you that you don't see, he can get that out of you with him being the guide card. It also speaks about him having a lot of spiritual insight and him using his platform to depart the spiritual wisdom to the masses, hoping that they'll pick it up, and he would hope that they can act more like him. But that's an attribute to the Father card, right? Because he has this desire to teach and to create a space for others to learn. The next card that I get for him is the card for the networker, which is speaking about him having a very broad social network. And his social network is not just specifically within entertainment. I get that his within multiple different industries, education, law, politics, media, that he has important connections there. He's particularly charismatic, is what I'm saying from him from the networker card. It's not just him being charismatic, but also the fact that he is able to sell empathy. I get that he's not an empathic person, but he knows how to role model himself as an empathic person. He knows how to bring that sort of emotion into his interviewing, and when he's speaking to people out and about, he's essentially interviewing them. He's bringing those job market qualitative research skills into his everyday life, and so he's able to convey important information to the people that he comes in contact with, especially if he's going to gain something from you. He has a lot to say, and he can easily befriend anyone that he would be interested in working with. The next card that I get for Charlamagne the God is called the Child Orphan, which is speaking about Charlamagne the God being someone. He may have been an only child, or he may have lived a lifestyle where he had brothers, and his brothers may have been older than him, out and about, and he had to figure out his masculinity on his own. This could also be the card that indicates that he was, as I mentioned before, having sex for survival. I get that Charlamagne the God was someone that would have committed crime for his own survival. The orphan card doesn't specifically speak about him being an orphan. Rather, he may feel abandoned by a larger society, and of course, by the larger society abandoning him, that could also implicate, some of his close family members. But I don't see him being a traditional orphan. Rather, I see that he's learned how to cope with abandonment by accepting that he doesn't want to get that close to people. And the final card that I'm going to pull for Charlamagne the God I get is the card for the Thief. The card for the Thief is speaking about him. It's speaking about him stealing ideas from other people, stealing jokes, and it's also talking about him stealing concepts from formats for television shows, or stealing his style of interviewing. That being said, it also indicates that he himself is going to be a victim of theft in creative realms as well. People are going to mimic him. They admire and respect the way in which he goes about conducting himself, and also having, how he's able to encourage for people to confess intimate information about themselves. He's going to be the victim of creative idea theft in the future, is what I can see from these cards, and I feel that very strongly because of the amount of charisma that he has. He's also created a formula for himself he's created a formula for himself that really works in terms of, this is what you can expect from me as in regards to this is what you can expect from me in regards to, you hire me, this is what you're going to get, this is what you know that you're going to get, and it's something that you've never seen before. However, after exposing himself so much to the public, they can find patterns in his behavior, and through those patterns develop their own ways of mimicking him and mimicking those patterns. Okay, so we're going to end that right there, and we're going to get into the next, into this reading. So we want to know, how does Charlamagne the God feel about DJ Envy? Do you all like DJ Envy on The Breakfast Club? How do you all think? What do you all think of DJ Envy? Not really a fan. Well, from what I can remember, DJ Envy was my least favorite. I found him to be, I thought he was someone that was, in my opinion, DJ Envy was a light-skinned poor kid who at some point in time became middle class by his income, not as much by his wealth and assets, right? And after that, he was just like, you know what, I'm not going to be like those Negroes that I grew up with, and I'm not particularly fond. All right, anyway, so what does Charlamagne the God think of DJ Envy? Charlemagne the guy has criticisms of how DJ Envy lives his life as far as his marriage goes. I think that Charlemagne the guy wants DJ Envy to protect his marriage. I feel like DJ Envy may be having twins or has twins. I just get that he has a baby on the way. I feel like Charlemagne the God is supportive of DJ Envy. He knows that he and Envy make a lot of money together, but Charlemagne the God doesn't feel it's necessary to partner with Envy. Again, Charlemagne has a lot of criticism towards how Envy lives his private life, the things that he does in the dark. He's like, these things aren't exactly adding up. It's like, I get this, that there's something. Charlemagne the God feels that DJ Envy is much more inauthentic than he is. I get that Charlemagne the God would say something to the effect of, well, that I'm an entertainer, so I can't truly be Leonard, but Envy versus, whoever DJ Envy's real name is, let's say it's Mark. Envy versus Mark, those are just two completely opposite personalities. He would say that because I get that perhaps Envy has tried to make himself seem reasonable and approachable, but perhaps outside of this, he's a lot more, I guess you could say patriarchally masculine. I don't get that he's, I get that Charlemagne thinks that DJ Envy presents himself as a family man behind closed doors. He's like, I don't know if that family man image stands up. The other thing that I'm saying here is that he feels that DJ Envy is accustomed to money, accustomed to like entrepreneurship, accustomed to that lifestyle. He feels that Envy works too much. He's always trying to start too many businesses. Even if they are successful, Charlemagne the God would like for him to slow down. If only because he feels that Charlemagne the God I don't know if he's as enterprising as Envy. I don't know if he's investing his money into the same places and silos as Envy is. So I mean, literally, I feel like there's some envy from these cards on Charlemagne's part. Okay, so Charlemagne feels like Envy. He feels like he and Envy have a good relationship. He feels like he and Envy dominate the show. But this is Angela Yee, right? For Angela Yee to show up as the Queen of Wands, I get that there's a not a temper, but there's an impulsiveness, a fiery impulsiveness that she has that may mess up the rhythm of the show, as indicated by the card of interference. The card for domination, with these two dominating, what looks like two penises crossed over each other. This would be Charlemagne the God and, DJ Envy dominating this particular program. So Charlemagne the God feels like DJ Envy is his equal, right? But I do feel that Charlemagne would like to work with. I get that Charlemagne would like to work with Envy to the capacity that Envy works under him. It's like Charlemagne's like, could I start my own show? Could I start my own podcast? And could I get Envy to kind of guest co-host on there? But this is my show. Finally, Charlemagne has these, like, he pokes fun at Envy over infidelity. Like Envy thinking that he was in love with a woman outside of his marriage. Like, hey, I'm in love with my lady and I'm in love with this other woman. He feels kind of like, Envy's kind of like, well, Charlemagne feels that Envy allows pussy to get in the way of everything. He's like, you're somebody that, when you're on it, and when you're not, you're not. But if you get the wrong sniff of the wrong pussy, it's over for you. And yeah, that's what Charlemagne thinks of Envy. So let's see what he thinks of Angela Yee. What do you all think of Angela Yee? I don't know these people, but I'm just talking about them in their roles as like entertainers. Like they're like TV characters. Like Charlemagne, Leonard playing as Charlemagne the God. Angela, I don't know Angela Yee's last name, but Angela Anaconda as Angela Yee. Like, so I'm not really a fan of Angela Yee's character. I find her voice to be too monotone. She always sounds like she's talking. Even when she's yelling, she just sounds like she's talking. I mean, everything just kind of sounds like this, and it's always just all grandma. It's always just a grandma tone. You know, even her shade is dry. Her shade remind me of Candy from Housewives, where it's like you don't catch Angela Yee's shade until like 2 minutes after she said it, but even then, when you realize what she said, it ain't that funny. Okay, so he's disappointed in Angela Yee. Charlamagne the God is disappointed in Angela Yee because he feels that their chemistry doesn't mesh well with each other. Charlamagne the God, I feel that there was a conversation, as indicated by this top row of cards. There was a conversation that Charlamagne had with Angela Yee in the past, where they both agreed to squashing a beef. I feel that Angela Yee had gotten aggravated with Charlamagne, teasing her, poking fun at her or things of that nature. But for the most part, I see that their it's been difficult for them to blend together. I see that Charlamagne the God prefers, if there's an interview where it's only two people can interview, Charlamagne the God prefers when it's he and Envy versus he and Angela Yee. With Angela, and the reason that he's disappointed in Angela Yee is because he feels that she doesn't use enough of her intuition when she's doing her job. That she, is someone that's very prepared, very organized, very structured, but in terms of being instinctual, operating off of her initial judgments, he wants her to be more impulsive, to give a more organic flow to the show, and he feels that she's too contrived or too structured in the way in which she delivers her humor or asks her questions. The other thing that I see here is that Charlamagne the God feels that he's smarter than Angela Yee, but he also knows that by telling her that, he's ruined their friendship. So I don't get that they are friends right now. I get that they have been friendly before, but I do get the sense from Charlamagne the God that by him telling Angela Yee, hey, I could run this by myself. I could do this by myself. This is all me. You're great, but it ruined things between them, because I just see that Angela Yee is someone that doesn't try to participate in hierarchical systems, but Charlamagne the God is someone that promotes that says that he has a socialist attitude, but he's very discriminating. And I see that he thinks that Angela Yee is the weakest link. Bye-bye. All right, so I got in this next row of cards that I just drew, I'm saying here that he's worried that Charlamagne is worried that if Angela Yee is let go of, what will she say about me? Will she have good things to say? Is she going to start revealing things in the dark or in the past, especially because he knows that Angela Yee is set up with the Tower card being here. This will indicate that Angela Yee stands tall. She has a large voice. He knows that. And with her as the Tower, it would also indicate to me that she's sturdy and well built. And if she were to be fired, would she shoot off at the mouth? Given that Angela Yee is the sort of person that when she's employed, when she's employed by you, she's not going to speak badly about you, because she's loyal like that. She wants to maintain that. So Charlamagne the God knows these things about her. All right. Now I want to know, why did Charlamagne the God get fired from the Wendy Williams show? I remember they were saying that Charlamagne the God worked for Wendy Williams. And I was just like, okay, well, did he did he choose her clothes? Did he, what was he doing? And people were like, oh, he worked at the radio station. He was a personality. That's how he got his start. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Given the fact that Charlamagne is so snarky and sassy and such a diva, I was like, it makes sense to me that Wendy Williams was his mentor or his employer at some point. So why did he get fired?
Fuel my fire, take me higher, I'll be your liar too. Cause when we're here,